After rising to prominence in the 1900s and crashing down in the early 2000s, Motorola's board had replaced CEO Chris Galvin with Ed Zander. Motorola needed some major restructuring, and Zander provided just that. In his first couple of months at Motorola, the company started generating millions in revenue from the launch of Razr. The company got the much-needed turnaround, and Zander was placed on a pedestal. But soon questions began to arise. Was Zander really that good, or was he taking praise for the ideas and efforts of the previous management? As soon as Zander took over Motorola in 2004, he made 3 major changes to the company. 3 much-needed changes. Up till Chris Galvin, Motorola was run like a family business. There were layers of management in the company that were not allowing Motorola to respond quickly to the dynamic environment. Motorola was also thought to be inordinately generous towards its employees, and lavish perks were distributed freely at the company. In addition, there was said to be an underlying caste system, and people of different ranks did not interact freely. The first thing that Zander initiated was a cultural shift in the company. He eliminated the invisible caste system. All the offices of top executives were made similar, and he removed the practice of giving black cards to junior level executives and white embossed ones to top level executives. Most of the perks and benefits that the executives at Motorola received were replaced with stock options that were granted based on performance. Bonuses and options were also granted based on the performance of the company as a whole, instead of just the individual departments. The emphasis was on teamwork. This was aimed at eliminating the interdepartmental rivalries that had been the undoing of Motorola in the preceding years. The next shift was making the company more customer-oriented. Zander mandated that all the executives spend more time trying to understand their markets and the needs of the customers. He himself spent a major part of every month traveling to Motorola's markets around the world in an effort to understand the business. The third major change made by Zander was the restructuring of Motorola. Motorola's semiconductor business had lost $4.1 billion from 2001 through 2003. It was sold off, and the remaining units were divided into 4 divisions: Personal Devices Unit, Networks Unit, Government and Enterprise Unit, and Connected Home Unit. While these units handled operational matters independently, all the support activities like marketing, human resources, supply chain, etc. were centrally managed. This ensured that the different units worked cohesively. But the thing that helped Zander the most was the launch of Razr. The Razr proved to be a monster hit, with 50 million selling in its first 2 years on the market. By the end of 2004, Motorola's market cap, the market value of its outstanding shares, hit $42 billion. Motorola knew after the success of the Razr that it would be only a matter of months before its competitors copied the best features of the phone. But Razr was created with a small, close-knit team, and not many people, even within Motorola, knew about it. Hence, the phone remained exclusive for more than 6 months, which gave Motorola a considerable advantage in the fad-driven mobile phone market. But within this Razr high, Motorola made its next mistake. The Razr was generating about 63% of the company's revenue, but like every other mobile phone fad, it was going to eventually die. So what was going to follow up Razr? Motorola was unable to answer that. For the next couple of years, Motorola kept pushing Razrs, directing its resources for producing new variations of the phone instead of innovating. Meanwhile, Motorola's competitors in the mobile phone industry had been working toward launching innovative phones of their own. Sony Ericsson launched a line of Walkman phones, which combined regular phone features with music playing capability in early 2005. Nokia came out with its N-series multimedia phones, which were supporting digital multimedia services in late 2005. Samsung and LG were also quick to copy the ultra-slim design that had been the main differentiating factor of the Razr. And all this while Motorola was still pushing Razrs with deep discounts and offers. The Razr's price was the most deeply slashed in 2006, when the phone started being sold in the US for around $50 with a long-term contract, a steep fall from its $450 price in 2004. One analyst calculated that the company made, on average, only about $5 per device. Motorola and Zander had made another mistake in 2005. They launched Rocker, a promising phone mainly because of the support of Apple's iTunes. But 2 years later, when Jobs introduced the first iPhone, Apple decided to stop supporting downloads on Rocker, and the phone eventually lost its footing in the market. Also, Zander never engaged in China the way the Galvins had, leaving the details to his division heads and country managers. When China upped its networks to 3G, his managers pushed what they had, older 2G phones, at steep discounts in order to preserve market share, unbeknownst to the CEO. The collapse of the China business in 2007 left Zander dumbstruck. That year, Samsung topped Motorola in phone sales for the first time, and it never looked back. As matters worsened in 2007, Zander was under considerable pressure. Analysts criticised him, stating that apart from the initial reorganisation, Zander hadn't produced much for the company. Even the razor that rose to success was in the making before Zander arrived, and it was clear that he had failed to provide the company with a viable future post-razor. In 2007, Carl Icahn, a private equity investor who was known for his uncanny ability to see and exploit the untapped wealth inside companies that have weak leaders, started snapping up Motorola's shares. He eventually owned more than 6% of the company and fought to seat board members of his choosing. His goal? Get the board to remove Zander and to break the company into parts by splitting the phone division from the public safety and enterprise businesses into Motorola Mobility and Motorola Solutions respectively. Splitting the company would help maximize the company's value to the shareholders. In 2008, he succeeded. Motorola set a course to split the company, and the reshaped board chose Greg Brown as the new CEO. In 2009, Motorola's board decided to give one final shot to the phone industry. They brought Sanjay Jha, a former Qualcomm COO, as co-CEO to run the phone business, and launched a new phone, Droid, in October 2009 on Google's Android software. In Droid's first few months through the holiday season, Motorola shipped more of them than Apple shipped iPhones. By late 2010, after 4 years of huge losses, the phone division was profitable again. However, the success had to be bittersweet. Droid was not the kind of world-changing invention the company had been known for. By the time Motorola split in January 2011, buckets of red ink had spilled back onto the phone division's balance sheet. At the same time in 2011, Google was easing into the hardware business, and the thing that caught their eye the most was Motorola Mobility's portfolio of about 17,000 patents. In 2011, Google offered Motorola $40 per share, a premium of 40% per share to Motorola Mobility. The total cost? $12.5 billion. The board and shareholders were delighted to hear the offer, as the company was bleeding money. Post-split, Motorola Solutions has continued making steady profits by providing services to mainly public safety and government agencies, while Motorola Mobility has been further sold to Lenovo. The Motorola brand name continues to exist in the market, but it does not have the same feeling or value attached to it that it did in the 1900s. From leader and innovator, it has now become a mere player and follower of the industry trends.